Greetings to all my fellow watch enthusiasts on YouTube and Facebook and wherever else this video will be seen and shared. Celine Driver once again, coming to you with video number 2 in my State of the Collection video series for the end of 2020. This particular collection, grouping of, let's see, I got 10 watches here, don't I? Yeah, 10 watches, are what I would classify as my quote-unquote sport watches. The sportier watches, the watches meant for activities and that kind of thing. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close. Anyway, just real quick to mention, all the watches you see here, I have done individual videos of them. So if you're curious about a particular watch, since I'm going to go over these, superficially, feel free to go through the archive of my channel and pull up the particular watch you're looking for, and you'll see probably about a 15-minute video, more or less, dealing with the particulars and details of the watch in question. So let's get started over here. I'm going to move this way. And we're going to start here with one of my 2 marathon watches. This is the 41 millimeter JSAR. I think it's JSAR. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, this is, as you can see, a quartz movement watch. Marathon is well-known, I believe, Canadian company? Yeah, I think so. They're Canadian. They build watches for several different militaries, including the U.S. military. These are solid chunk wide. I mean, look at the depth of that. Down to from the bezel top to the watch face. Look at the depth in this one. This is the 41 millimeter version. This is the medium size version. They do make a 36 millimeter version. They also make a 46 millimeter version, which is that one. We'll get to that. These are issued to militaries, including the American military. All kinds of verbiage on the back. If you're selling to the U.S. military, there's all kinds of the U.S. government. There's all kinds of different numbers and certifications and such that you have to meet in order to be a supplier to the U.S. government. Very chunky, solid bezel that lines up just nicely. Definitely an excellent dive watch. Uses tritium tubes for lume inside the watch. You do get a non-tritium standard kind of lume pip on the bezel, but an excellent tool watch. I mean, just an excellent tool watch. A very grippy bezel, knurled crown. I've put this onto a leather collar strap because I prefer that, but these things come on rubber straps. There is an option for a metal bracelet that can have different logos on the deploy clasp. I may pick one of those up with the U.S. government logo on the back just to have, and swap it out every once in a while. Great little tool watch. And because it's quartz, it's grab and go. But its big brother was the one that I really wanted and really went after hard, especially this particular one, because this particular one is the JSAR, the Jumbo Search and Rescue, 46 millimeter, big, thick chunk of a watch. But this one is a Yamen version. Yamen is one of the 4 different Israeli Special Forces folks, and they have their own version. You can see the Israeli Special Forces crest. You can see the day window The days are in English and in Hebrew. And you have the Yemen crest on the back as well. And I do have the steel bracelet for this with that crest on the clasp. But this one actually had Mark from Long Island Watch. He doesn't sell this one on the website normally, at least not as of when I'm making this video. I emailed him and asked him if he could find me one. He said yes. A few days later, he said, I found one. Here's the price. I paid the price. And about a week after that, big boy here showed up. And I've been very happy ever since. This is an automatic version as opposed to the quartz version down there. Fantastic bezel action. Again, uses the tritium tubes for lume, knurled crown. It's just a wonderful, wonderful watch. Put it like that. I know you guys are going to after me because I put these watches down with the crowns down on some of them, but relax. Anyway, now on to my Breitlings. I've had my eye on Breitling for a while as a watch that I really like to have, and finally was able to find my first Breitling, which is this one, the Aerospace, the Anti-Digi version, with a great little bezel. Oh, you could call it a dive bezel if you wanted to. And it really works well. It has, obviously the analog clock. If you spin the crown in different directions, you can get, other functions like calendar and the timer and this. Really got to work at this. A stopwatch and they call it a chronograph. And then you can display, the digital, or to save battery, you can just turn it off. There, like that. But this is the first Breitling I ever picked up. It's all titanium watch. Really thin, nice sport watch. Love that piece. But I wanted the legend I wanted the Breitling legend, and this was a Grail watch, and this was a Grail watch. This is my second Breitling. This is also, of all the watches you'll see in all of my State of the Collection videos, this is my favorite watch of all my collection. Hands down, this is my favorite watch. This is a Breitling Navitimer Twin 60. This is a 1 year only production watch. I was lucky to stumble on this, and I did stumble on it. And it is a fantastic watch. I love the classic blue with the white subdials. I have this on a Collareb leather strap, although I do have a couple of other different straps that this watch came with. I like this blue sort of suede, distressed suede look. This to me is one of the most beautiful watches ever made, the Breitling Navitimer. And this was a Grail watch of mine for a long time. It took me a year to save up, and I wanted to do it the right way. Didn't want to go into debt. I wanted to save up, and I searched, and I saved, and I saved, and I searched, and I finally found this. And I am obsessed with this watch. I love this watch. It's in beautiful shape. The previous owner took great care of it. Really a nice guy, too. He was really a nice guy. Was very happy that I was so enthusiastic to get a Breitling Navitimer. He was very happy that watch went to a good home. But then I decided I needed another Breitling Grail, And I really like the idea of the Breitling Emergency. Ever since I saw one on an episode of Top Gear, the one where they stuck Richard Hammond on a mountain with a Breitling Emergency watch, and then Jeremy and Captain Slow raced up the mountain in pickup trucks because they were in Canada, I think, to rescue him. But that was a second generation Emergency. This is a first generation. It works on the 121.5 megahertz frequency. And you can see it's this one. There are different styles of this one. This one is obviously based on the aerospace. So it is an anti-digi with the analog digital timer, the perpetual calendar, the timer, the chronograph, the alarms, all that. Nice bidirectional compass bezel. But the party trick for this watch is the antenna that's encased in here, and in this version in here. If you unscrew this and break that seal there, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a seal there, and pull this wire all the way out this way, and pull this wire all the way out this way, and then pull that wire, it starts a 48-hour signal that's on the 121.5 megahertz. And even though they've superseded that with a different higher radio frequency, which I believe is digital as well, they still monitor this frequency. And this thing starts transmitting an emergency signal for 48 hours, depending on battery life. If you deploy this thing as a joke or whatever, it's, from what I've been able to understand, a $25,000 fine and maybe jail time, and the watch has to go back to Breitling to be completely rebuilt. So don't deploy this thing unless you're serious. This watch came with full kit. The case was in really good shape. It had all the manuals. It had the sealed VHS videotape showing how the watch works. It even had the tester. There's a test port back there, and you can test the watch to make sure that the signal works. And the tester was included, and it worked. So another Grail watch obtained. Again, I worked, I saved, I did the right way, I believe, and I got my Grail. My next Grail, however, is not a Breitling. Now we come to one of my oldest watches in my collection. This is one of the, not in terms of chronology, in terms of how old the watch is, but in terms of how long I've had this watch. I've had this watch since 2006, when I started my first round of somewhat serious collecting. This is a Doxa. This is a company with a very old history of making dive watches for the likes of Jacques Cousteau and his group, and very heavily involved in the dive world. I learned about Doxa by reading books from a recently deceased, my favorite author, Clive Cussler. His main character in his books, and it's a whole series of books, Dirk Pitt, wore an orange Doxa dive watch. And I was very curious as to what that was, because obviously back then when I was reading those books, or started reading them, there was no internet. When I finally saw a picture of one of these things, I said, oh, I have got to have one. And in 2006, I made that happen. Unique to this watch is the fact that the bezel, the rotating die bezel, and it is a wonderfully feeling bezel, has a dual track. The inner track is your standard die bezel with the minutes. The outer track has bottom time, according to the dive tables, how long you can stay down depending on depth. So if you went down 110 feet, you could only stay down 20 minutes before you have to start coming up to avoid decompression. If you were down 70 feet, you could stay under for 50 minutes. and so on. So that's how that works. This is a sub 750T. This is one of the professionals. The professionals are the orange ones. The Caribbeans are the blue ones. The black ones are shark hunters. The silver ones are sea ramblers. The yellow ones are diving stars. And the aqua ones are Project Aware watches. So that was my first dachshund. My second one, and if you look back at my other videos, you'll see that I had many more of these. I sold all those. These are the only two I kept. This is my GMT Caribbean. It's a sub 750 as well. The 750 means it's rated for 750 foot dive. This is a GMT watch. Bezel's a little stiffer, obviously, but it's the same dive bezel as on the professional. There you go. But it has a GMT function to it. That's what that hand is for. And the inner bezel can be rotated with this crown. This crown sets the watch, sets the date, sets the GMT. But these are very hard to come by. They didn't really make a lot of GMTs. They don't make any now. I don't think they were terribly popular at the time. But I love the Caribbean blue. Little hint of orange satisfies my Florida Gatorness. And yeah, it's just a wonderful, wonderful watch. I really love this watch. Not going anywhere. Not selling that watch. So those are the two dachshunds I have left. And over here I have my Omega. I have my Planet Ocean. This is Seamaster Planet Ocean. Wonderfully smooth, crisp bezel action. I really, really like this watch. This one is the older style with the non-wave dial. The helium escape at the 10 o'clock. It's just a wonderful, wonderful watch. Great sports watch. Very accurate. It keeps time beautifully well. This is about as close to a grab-and-go watch as a automatic can be. I rarely, if ever, have to set the time on this thing except when it's either changing to daylight savings time or standard time, or maybe once a month it'll drop a minute. Beautiful watch. I have my Rolex Sea Dweller Deep Sea, aka the Cameron. This a big boy. This is not a subtle watch by any stretch of the imagination, but because of the tip-to-tip being very short, it does not wear nearly as big as you think it is. And of course, it has the best bezel action in the business. I mean, just beautiful. Helium escape valve, triple lock crown. This thing is very, 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 very well rated as a dive watch. Although, of course, I'm not a diver, so I don't do that. Just a beautiful, beautiful Rolex. I love the gradient from the blue to black, which is what happens in the ocean. Beautiful watch. And finally, in this grouping, is probably the watch with the greatest meaning to me of any watch that I own in any of the videos you're going to see, and that is this GMT Master. This is the original Master, not the GMT Master 2. And you're probably saying to yourself, why is such an old watch have such meaning to you? And the reason is because this watch belonged to my father. Now, as I make this video, my dad is still alive. Let's not get it twisted. My dad has not passed on. I'm hoping for many, many more years with my father, who is an avid watch collector on his own. But this was the first watch that he gave me. This watch, when he gave it to me, had a Pepsi bezel on it. I still have that insert. It's in the original box. I wanted the Coke insert. Now, this watch wasn't working when he gave it to me. He replaced it with a Pepsi Master 2, GMT Master 2. And he gave me this watch, and it was not working. And he said, "Go ahead and get it working, and you can have this watch." So I got it working. It needed a new crystal. It needed a service, and they put in the bezel insert. And it's in great. It's, you know, you can see this is the older non-super case. Very by some descriptions, a very delicate case compared to the super case Rolexes. Signed crown. I think this is a stainless steel watch, so, you know, not a precious metal watch. But to me, this watch is very special because it is one of the ways that my father and I connect is because this watch was his, it's now mine, and that's why this watch is the most special watch in my collection. I'm very grateful to my father for, you know, reigniting the watch collecting fire in me about 5 years ago. And I'm really grateful to him for, he's bequeathed me several watches. Some of them you'll see. In fact, you'll see them all, really. Some of them you see here on the table. This one, the Omega, this Deep Sea, and this GMT Master. So I'm grateful to my father for that, and that's why but that Rolex was the first, and that's why that watch is very special to me. So I'm going to wrap up video number 2 with the usual spiel. Please click that thumbs up button before you leave. That does help the channel. It does help with the searchability of the channel, and when the channel appears in searches, it appears higher up in the search results because of thumbs ups. So that helps me. Comments, questions, suggestions down below. I do read them all. I do respond to them all. However, if you are going to troll me, or you are going to be otherwise nasty, or post links that take viewers off to unfriendly parts of the web, I will delete that comment so it's not seen, and then I will block you so that you are not seen. If you are new here, of course, welcome. I'm very happy to have you here. Feel free to watch as many videos as you want. Absolutely encourage that. Before you leave, please click that subscribe button. And when you click that, click the bell icon next to it so that when I go live, which I do every Wednesday afternoon at noon Eastern Time, or when the mood strikes me during other parts of the week, or when I upload new content, you will be alerted to that. I want everyone to stay safe, stay healthy, stay well. I will talk to you in the next State of the Collection video.